Let me ask you something honest. Are you working right now? Maybe full time? Maybe you've got a side hustle. Maybe you're putting in 50-hour weeks and you still look at your bank account and wonder where it all went. If that's you, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not the problem. The problem is that you were handed a paycheck and never handed the instruction manual that goes with it. Today, we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about why hardworking people stay broke, what nobody taught us about money, and the exact habits you can start this week, not someday, not when you make more, right now. Stay with me because this one is going to hit different. Here's the first thing nobody tells you when you land your first real job. Earning money and building money are two completely different skills. Most people learn to earn, they show up, they work hard, they get paid. That part we figured out. But the moment that money hits the account, most of us were never taught what to do next. So what happens? Life happens. Rent, car payment, subscriptions you forgot you signed up for, a dinner out because you worked hard and you deserve it. And before you know it, 2 weeks of work disappears in about 4 days of living. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is one of the most silent wealth killers for young people. Here's how it works. You start out making $60,000 a year, and over time you adapt your life around that number. Then eventually you move up to 80 or 90,000. But instead of feeling dramatically more financially free, the lifestyle around you expands too. You get a nicer apartment, you upgrade your car, you eat out more often, then you get another raise, and the same thing happens again. Years go by, your income grows, your savings don't. The income goes up, the lifestyle follows it, and the gap in between, the gap where wealth is supposed to be built, stays empty. Here's the fix. Every time your income increases, make a conscious decision before your lifestyle adjusts. Even if you only hold 50% of that raise back and protect it, you are building the habit of letting money accumulate instead of automatically spending it. Your paycheck is not your wealth. Your paycheck is an opportunity. What you do with it in the first 48 hours after you receive it determines whether you are building something or simply surviving another month. Now let's talk about the specific habits, because this isn't about being irresponsible. Most broke, hardworking people are actually very responsible. They pay their bills, they show up to work, they try, but there are 5 patterns that show up again and again, and recognizing yours is the first step. Habit 1, spending before saving. This is the most common one. The paycheck comes in, you pay your bills, you handle your obligations, you live your life. And then at the end of the month, whatever is left over, if anything, goes into savings. The problem is that for most people, nothing is left over. The fix is simple, but it requires a mindset shift. Pay yourself first. The moment your check hits, move a set amount, even $20, even $50, into a separate savings account before you do anything else. Automate it if you can. Set it up so it moves the same day your paycheck lands. Make it invisible. What you don't see, you don't spend. Over time, that habit compounds, not just the money, but the identity. You start to see yourself as someone who saves, and that identity shift changes every financial decision you make going forward. Habit 2, no buffer, no breathing room. Living check to check doesn't just hurt financially, it keeps you in a constant state of low-grade stress. One unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, a missed shift, and the whole system breaks down. This is why the very first financial goal for anyone starting out should not be investing. It should not be paying off debt aggressively. It should be building a 1-month buffer. 1 month of essential expenses sitting in a separate account that you do not touch unless there is a genuine emergency. That buffer changes your relationship with money. You stop making fear-based decisions. You stop using your credit card because something came up. You stop borrowing from next month to pay for this month. Start small. Even $500 sitting untouched in a separate account gives you psychological breathing room that changes how you handle everything else. Habit 3, debt as a lifestyle tool. Credit cards, buy now, pay later programs, and financing for everything from furniture to phones have become deeply normalized in modern life. And the reality is that many younger people were given access to debt long before they were given a real understanding of how interest, repayment cycles, and long-term financial pressure actually work. That matters because debt is not always just about the original purchase price. It is also about accumulated interest, reduced flexibility, financial stress, and future income that has already been committed before it is earned. For example, if someone carries a $2,000 credit card balance at a high interest rate and only makes minimum payments, the repayment process can stretch out for years and cost far more than the original purchase itself. That is why understanding the true cost of borrowing is so important. Credit can absolutely be useful when managed responsibly. It can help build financial history, improve flexibility during emergencies, and support larger financial goals when used carefully. But problems often begin when debt quietly becomes part of everyday lifestyle maintenance instead of a temporary financial tool. A healthier approach is to pause before major purchases and ask, can I realistically pay this off quickly without creating long-term financial pressure on myself? That question alone can prevent many financial problems before they begin, because the goal is not perfection. The goal is maintaining enough financial control that your future income is still helping build your life instead of constantly paying for decisions from the past. For some people, credit cards can be useful tools when managed carefully. Responsible usage may help build credit history, improve financial flexibility, and provide benefits like purchase protections or rewards, but the key is discipline. Ideally, balances should be paid in full consistently to avoid high-interest debt accumulation. And if you are already carrying credit card debt, the priority becomes reducing the balance strategically and consistently. One approach many financial experts recommend is the avalanche method. Continue making minimum payments on all accounts while directing any extra money toward the highest interest debt first. Over time, this approach can reduce the total interest paid and help regain financial breathing room more efficiently. Habit 4. Trading time for money with no exit strategy. Working hard is not enough. You can work incredibly hard your entire life and still not get ahead if you are only ever trading your time for money. This doesn't mean you need to quit your job and start a business, but it does mean you need to start asking a different question. Instead of, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I make money work for me, even if it starts small? Contributing to your workplace retirement account, especially if your employer matches contributions, is the most straightforward return on investment available to most working people. If your employer matches up to 3% and you are not contributing at least 3%, you are leaving free money on the table every single paycheck. Compound interest is not a finance buzzword. It is the mechanism by which small, consistent investments turn into serious wealth over time. Historically, long-term market growth has shown how even relatively small monthly investments, when consistently invested over decades, can potentially grow into significant amounts through compounding. For example, at an average long-term return around 8%, $200 invested monthly from age 25 to 65 could grow to well over $500,000 over time, though actual results will vary. The same person who waits until 35 to start? Less than 300,000. Time is the asset you can't buy back. Start somewhere, even if somewhere is small. Habit 5. Avoiding the money conversation. This one is cultural and it runs deep. Many of us grew up in households where money was stressful, secretive, or shameful. You didn't ask how much things cost, you didn't talk about debt, you didn't discuss salaries. Money was either a source of tension or something you just didn't bring up. And so we became adults who avoid the money conversation with our partners, with ourselves, with our own finances. You can't fix what you won't face. Set a money date with yourself once a week. 15 minutes, look at your accounts, know your numbers, know what came in, what went out, and what the current balance is on every account and every debt. Most people are scared to look because they're afraid of what they'll see, but not knowing doesn't make the situation better, it just means you're operating blind. Knowledge is the first step toward control. Let's be real about the education gap here. Most of us spent 12 or more years in school and walked out with no understanding of how taxes work, how interest accrues, what a credit score actually measures, what the difference is between an asset and a liability, or how to build a budget that accounts for real life. We learned the quadratic formula. We didn't learn how to negotiate a salary. So here is a quick financial vocabulary lesson that changes how you see money. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A rental property, stocks that pay dividends, a business that generates income. An asset works for you. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. A car loan, a credit card balance, a mortgage on a house you can barely afford. Liabilities cost you money over time. The goal of wealth building is simple. Accumulate assets, minimize liabilities. Here's the honest reality about the advice many of us received growing up. Get a good job is not a wealth strategy. Work hard and you'll be fine is not a financial plan. A house is always a good investment is not universally true. The financial world has changed dramatically. Pensions are mostly gone. The cost of living has outpaced wage growth for decades. The traditional path of working 30 years for one company no longer guarantees stability. This doesn't mean the situation is hopeless. It means you need different tools than the generation before you, and those tools are available. Most of them are free, but you have to seek them out intentionally. Everything we've talked about comes back to one core shift. Stop asking, how much do I make? And start asking, where does every dollar go? Your income is the input. Your habits are the process. Your financial life is the output. You can't change the output without changing the process. This video is intended for educational and informational purposes only and reflects general financial perspectives and observations. Always do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified financial professional regarding your specific situation. A powerful financial habit is assigning every dollar a specific role ahead of time: bills, savings, investing, debt reduction, emergency reserves, or personal spending, instead of letting money move randomly throughout the month. At the beginning of every month, you assign every single dollar of your expected income a job before you spend it. Rent gets a job, groceries get a job, savings get a job, debt payoff gets a job, fund money gets a job, entertainment gets a job. Every dollar is accounted for before the month begins. This doesn't mean you can't be flexible. Life changes, budgets can be adjusted. But when every dollar has a name and a purpose before you spend it, you stop spending by accident and start spending with intention. The goal isn't to restrict your life, the goal is to design it. Also, talk about money with people you trust. Find one person in your life who is further ahead financially and have an honest conversation. Ask them what they know now that they wish they had known sooner. Most people, if approached with genuine curiosity, are happy to share. You can also learn from books. You can also learn a tremendous amount from financial education resources, especially books focused on budgeting, investing, debt management, and behavioral finance. One good financial book can completely change the way you think about money, risk, and your future. Some financial education books are in your local library for free. I don't want to leave you with just ideas. I want to leave you with actions. Here is what to do in the next 7 days. Day 1. Open a separate savings account if you don't already have one. Not at the same bank where your checking account lives, somewhere slightly separate so the money is out of sight and requires a little friction to access. Day 2. Write down every debt you have, the balance, the minimum payment, and the interest rate. All of it. Student loans, car loans, credit cards, personal loans, money you owe your cousin, all of it in one place. This is the first time many people have ever seen the full picture. It may be uncomfortable. Look at it anyway. Day 3. Calculate your actual monthly take-home income after taxes, after any deductions, then list every fixed expense: rent, insurance, subscriptions, minimum debt payments. What's left is your working money. Day 4. Set up even a small automatic transfer to savings: $10, $20, whatever is real for your situation right now. The amount is less important than the habit. Day 5. Check whether your employer offers a retirement account with a match. If they do and you are not enrolled, enroll this week, even at the minimum contribution to capture the match. Day 6. Cancel one subscription you are not actively using, just one. You know which one. You've thought about it before. Do it today. Day 7. Look at your accounts, all of them. Write down the total. This is your starting point. You cannot track progress without a starting point. That's 7 small actions in 7 days. None of them require a raise. None of them require a windfall. All of them require a decision. Here is the truth I want you to take away from this. You are not broke because you are lazy. You are not struggling because you don't work hard enough. You are navigating a financial system that was never clearly explained to you, using habits that were modeled for you by people who were also never clearly taught. The cycle ends when the information changes. And the information just changed. You now know that income without direction disappears. You know that lifestyle creep is a real and silent wealth destroyer. You know that debt has a true cost that goes far beyond the purchase price. You know that compound interest rewards people who start early even when they start small. You know that avoiding your finances doesn't protect you, it just keeps you in the dark. Most importantly, you know that this is fixable, not overnight, not with a lottery ticket or a viral side hustle, but with consistent, intentional decisions made week after week. Start with one thing from today's video, just one, and then come back next week because we're going to keep going. If this hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment with which habit you recognized in yourself. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now because we're building something here. I'll see you in the next one.